Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition Series, where I preview and predict every men's college basketball conference tournament. Now up, the Atlantic Sun Tournament. This is the 7th of 31 shows that I'm going to do previewing all these tournaments. And without further ado, here we go. The quarterfinals begin Thursday, March 4th. 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. You have 8-seeded Kennesaw State against 1-seeded Liberty. Kennesaw 5-18 on the year, 2-13 in conference play. Liberty 20-5 on the year, 11-2 in conference play. My projections: Liberty by 22.5, total 135. Therefore, Liberty I have advancing. Also at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Thursday afternoon, March 4th, you have 5-seeded North Alabama against 4-seeded North Florida. North Alabama 11-10 on the year, 7-8 in conference play. North Florida 8-14 on the year, 6-6 in conference play. My projection here: North Alabama by 1.5, total 141.5. Therefore, the upset: North Alabama to the semis. 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. 6-seeded Florida Gulf Coast against 3-seeded Lipscomb. Florida Gulf Coast 9-7 on the year, 4-5 in conference play. Lipscomb 15-11 on the year, 9-6 in conference play. My projection here: Lipscomb by 5, total 138. Therefore, Lipscomb advances. And last but not least, in the quarterfinals, you have number 7-seeded Stetson against number 2-seeded Bellarmine. Stetson 10-13 on the year, 7-9 in conference play. Bellarmine 13-6 on the year, 10-3 in conference play. My projection here: Bellarmine by 3.5, total 141.5. Therefore, Bellarmine to the semifinals. So before I get into the semifinals, I do not project totals beyond the first game each team has played because totals are not easy to project. Meanwhile, lines are, because of who, in theory, I have advancing. So the semifinals, Friday, March 5th, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. 5-seeded North Alabama against 1-seeded Liberty. My line: Liberty by 10.5. Therefore, Liberty advances to the championship. And the other semifinal matchup, the 3-seeded Lipscomb against 2-seeded Bellarmine. My projection is actually Lipscomb by 1.5. Therefore, the upset: Lipscomb into the conference championship. And then you have the conference championship, which will be played Sunday, March 7th at 2 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. 3-seeded Lipscomb against 6-seeded Liberty. And by the way, my projected Lipscomb-Bellarmine matchup would be, in theory, 7 o'clock on Friday night. So 2 o'clock Eastern, Sunday afternoon, March 7th, 3-seeded Lipscomb against 1-seeded Liberty. My projection here is Liberty by 6. Therefore, Liberty would receive the auto bid into the NCAA tournament. So my pick to win the Atlantic Sun Tournament: the Liberty Flames. Richie McKay, one of the best coaches in the sport. And I think that Hassan Azadullah will carry Lipscomb into the championship, but it won't be enough, as Liberty and their deep roster will advance into the big dance. So there you have it for the Atlantic Sun Tournament. Next up, the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament picks and preview.